Welcome to It Happened in Grand Prairie, Texas. I'm Ruthie Jackson, your host, and we have a very exciting history as we document the history of our city, introduce you to the people that helped make that history and that are continuing to make history this very day. And we're just so very pleased to announce that this is our history tape number 490. 490, and we could not have had a more exciting couple to come before us today than we did when we brought on board the Copelands. C-O-P-E-L-A-N-D, a very famous name in Grand Prairie, Texas. Many years with the name Copeland signed to many birth certificates as the reigning doctor of Grand Prairie, Texas, held fort many years and has really brought a lot of quality of life to the city of Grand Prairie, Texas. Now, he lived with his family on Grand Prairie Road. And Grand Prairie Road is right off of South Center Street in what we call the old downtown Grand Prairie, south of the railroad tracks. And this is our history building number 6, documented with a state marker, with a Grand Prairie significant landmark, and many other things, but it's a special museum in the city of Grand Prairie, Texas that is open by request, and the docents will come out and take you on a tour of this very famous landmark in Grand Prairie, Texas. Now, this was a Dr. Horace V. Copeland home. Now, Dr. Horace V. Copeland, it's named in his honor. However, he had a very exciting family, and we have with us on the dais today, first of all, Victor Copeland, who is the only son of Dr. Horace V. Copeland and his beautiful wife, and we're just so pleased to welcome him to the set from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Welcome to this set.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Jackson.
Well, you can call me Ruthie just most any time, young man, because you're only 3 months older than I am. So let's get with it on this.
I'm your senior.
Yeah, just a little. And Cindy Copeland, how wonderful for you to share with us. And this is your beautiful daughter from Weatherford, Texas. I'm so glad you left some people here and didn't take all of the Copelands up into Colorado. I believe you have relatives in San Antonio and Weatherford and probably some other places, but you certainly have a lot in Grand Prairie, Texas.
Yes, we have a lot throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, that's good. We're going to talk about them in a few minutes. Now, your father was so exciting because we have a book, a scrapbook about Dr. Copeland, and Cindy's going to show and tell a little bit of this for us, and she's just going to hold it up, and I think Juliana's going to get some pictures of that. And we have a picture of Dr. Copeland and the two of them together, and also another picture of them. And we even have Dr. Copeland's birth certificate on record, so we have this completely documented. And would you turn the page one more time for us, Miss Cindy? We also have some documents about Dr. Copeland, and when you're looking that into your camera on the other page across from this wonderful document from Tarrant County, we have a picture of his doctor's bag and some of the other implements that were at one time in the Copeland Home Museum before someone purloined them from us, and we've not been able to relocate those in any of the places that we visited looking for items of antiquity. So maybe one of these days we'll run across that. So we're showing everyone a picture of this bag, and you might want to help us retrieve that from someone that decided they liked it as well as we did in our museum. And there are other things in there, Cindy, that we may get to in a few minutes, but we wanted you to know that Dr. Copeland's family was just so very special. So Dr. Copeland not only had this wonderful home that the family used, but he also helped the First Presbyterian Church in their move. And I don't know whether we can draw a bead on this little bitty wonderful First Presbyterian Church in Grand Prairie, Texas, that was located on the corner of South Center Street and Grand Prairie Road. Now that building has been demolished, and something else is located on that magic corner. But up the street from that, Dr. Copeland provided a wonderful, wonderful lot so that the now current First Presbyterian Church on Southwest 3rd and Grand Prairie Road is located there. But we wanted you to see this 1914 version of the First Presbyterian Church. He was a strong Presbyterian, and he really did care about the church and provided that land for them to build that church. Now, we know a little bit about the history of Dr. Copeland from our standpoint, but now we want to talk to Victor. Victor, where were you born, young man?
Ruthie, I was born in Grand Prairie, Texas.
In Grand Prairie, Texas. Were you born in this house that we're talking about?
I was born in the front bedroom of the home that you people have so graciously taken care of over the past few years.
That's 125 Southwest Dallas Street,
That is correct.
Next door to you is that First Presbyterian Church, and on the east you have the Seroptimus Club of Grand Prairie,
Yes.
Texas. So you're surrounded by really wonderful neighbors, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
and
been fortunate.
when were you born?
October the 15th, 1920.
Wasn't that 20 a good year? Oh, that 20 was a good year. Also, I believe you have a sister, and I believe she's a little older than you?
Yes, she's 21 months older than I am.
And she passed away, what, 4 years ago?
3, yeah, right.
All right,
Definitely.
and let's name her, because we want Miss Francis in
Frances
here.
Hortense.
Frances Hortense, and I believe she was a namesake of your mother, right?
Yes, that's
yes,
correct.
yes, and you have part of the name of your dad, don't
Well,
you?
I'm the junior. My name is Horace Victor Copeland
Well, I knew
Jr.
that we always called you Victor, but I didn't know you had the first name
Well, they
also.
call my father Horace, and so
Yes.
they call me Victor.
Victor, all right. And living in Grand Prairie, south of the railroad tracks there,
Yes.
what was it like when you first started to school, Victor?
Oh, I thought it was the greatest thing that ever happened.
All right.
Yes, it was a short 4 blocks walk
Yes.
to school.
And
we
you walked north, didn't you?
Right, yes.
Up to the old red school building on College Street?
That is correct.
Oh, who was
Yeah.
your first teachers?
The old Beth Wagner.
Beth Wagner.
No. She was my first high school
Yes.
college teacher. I don't remember.
Let's don't remember those. All right. I know that there were a lot of important things, but did you have a best friend that lived nearby that you all played together and had a good time together?
Hudson Jackson.
Hudson Jackson was it.
Hudson Jackson was 5 days my senior.
Oh, he was.
Yes.
Also in October, right?
And we were, right, October the 10th. He was born October the 10th, 1920. And we were like twins. We were just as welcome in each other's house as if we lived there.
And now, Hudson, you lost him in World War II, didn't you?
That is correct.
Yes.
Yes.
He's one of the ones that we're documenting for the MIA-KIA Memorial Garden that we're hoping to get established in Grand Prairie, Texas real soon. So maybe when we dedicate that, we'll have to invite you down from Colorado to come and stand in for Hudson Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you.
That would be an exciting thing, wouldn't it?
Yes, Hudson lost his life in a B-24 accident in World War II in Italy.
In Italy. Okay, we didn't have that documented, so I'm glad to find that out, and we'll pass that on to our historian, who is Weta Chapman Lewis, that's researching that for us and trying to get all these things pulled together. Now, living and going to school in Grand Prairie, and your dad was a doctor, that made you very important in Grand Prairie, Texas, because he was very well known, wasn't he?
Yes, he was well known.
Well, he was also a member of the school board.
Yes.
And he was also, I believe, on the city council.
Yes.
But they called it a city commission then. They didn't call it a council. And tell me some more about your mother and father and what it was like to live with a family that was so important to Grand Prairie, Texas.
Well, my mother and father had known each other for years. Both of them were from the Arlington area.
The Watson community, right?
The Watson community.
Yeah.
Yes. And their parents both were farmers,
Yes.
And they helped each other. They knew each other practically all their lives, and they knew each other. And then Mother and Dad, of course, they knew each other since they were youngsters.
Yes.
Even though they didn't.
Old school sweethearts, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that was wonderful. Yeah. And when your dad established himself in Grand Prairie, Texas, he didn't operate out of his house at first, didn't he? Operate up on Main Street in one of the pharmacies or something?
He had an office in Turner Drug Store.
Okay.
Company.
All right.
Yeah. Sure did. Yeah.
And then finally he decided that he was going to bring this business down, and he had a place in his home that was his office, right?
Yes.
Yes. And were you off limits to going into that office, and did he say, now, Victor, I want you to play out in the backyard, don't mess around with my stuff in here? Tell me what it was like living with a doctor, his office in your home.
Well, now, when he moved his office to his home, I was away from home. I was going to school.
All right, don't get you that far in school yet, though. You were way gone then.
Yeah, I was way gone.
All right, now let's get you back. Let's get you back to Grand Prairie School. That was an 11th grade school.
Right.
And now that you've finished elementary, and we didn't have a middle school or a junior high, you went right on into high school.
That's right.
8th, 9th, and 10th, and 11th.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right.
Tell me something about 8th, 9th, and 10th, and 11th as a Gopher, Grand Prairie Gopher.
Oh, we thought that was the greatest school in the whole county.
Oh, you did?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
All right.
We were proud of Grand Prairie High School.
All right. Who were your teachers, and did you have a principal? And I believe there was a superintendent on board there. In Grand Prairie too. Mr. L.A. Roberts, was he your superintendent?
That's right. Yeah, he was the superintendent.
Well, now that's pulling out a long way up here. Yes.
Of course, later he was the county superintendent.
Yes, he was. And I served on the Dallas County School Board for 18 years, but I didn't get to serve with him.
Did you?
He had already retired when Dewey Miller went off of that board, and they elected me as the new replacement for Dewey Miller, and Mr. Boyd Tyndall was the superintendent then, but he worked directly after Mr. L.A. Roberts was the county superintendent. So we have lots of good history ties with that group. And tell me about your principal. Did you have a principal at Grand Prairie? Do you remember the principal? You didn't have to go to the principal's office, did you? Ever?
Of course not. Of course not, Ruthie.
I knew you were going to say that.
No.
Who was your favorite teacher at high school and your favorite subject?
Oh, I like Beth Wagner. She taught us biology, and
all that good science, didn't she?
I enjoyed biology.
Yes.
Sure
did you ever have Verena Height as a teacher? Verena Height.
No, I never did.
Never did have her as a teacher.
No, she wasn't teaching permanently there in Grand Prairie at that time.
At that time. Any other teacher you remember other than Miss Beth? Did you do any athletics?
No, I was a little too clumsy for the athletic department.
Well, were you in the choir or the senior plays?
I did enjoy playing baseball.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Played on the Gopher baseball team?
Yeah.
Okay, what position did you play?
I played first base.
First base. Oh, that's a critical part, isn't it, Cindy?
Yes.
Well,
I was long and tall, and I could reach out far and catch the ball.
Well, did y'all have any special district honors, state honors, regional honors?
No, we weren't good enough for that. No, we weren't.
And where was your playing field when you were going to school there? Was it at South Side or where?
It was South Side, down on the South Side where it was for years.
Near where Charlie Taylor Rec Center is at this time?
Yes.
On Grand Prairie Road and Southeast 8th Street, somewhere in that vicinity?
That's right. That's where it was.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember your coach?
Had a nice Neely.
Coach Neely. Coach Neely. Okay. Yeah. I'm getting some good new names here from you. I'm so glad you came from Colorado to help us fill in some of the blanks here.
Yeah.
And then what year did you graduate from Grand Prairie High School?
1937.
1937, okay. 1937, that was a good year too. And in 1937, when you graduated, who gave you an encouraging word that says, now Victor, life is just one time around. What are you going to do? Are you going to go to school? Or had you already made up your mind before then that you were going to school and you were going in a certain direction?
Yes, I knew I was going to school.
You knew?
Long before I graduated from high school.
Oh, you did. You already started making plans.
Yes.
Did you already have your career mapped out, or were you going for the basics?
No, I didn't have.
You just wanted to go get the basics and.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your determining factor, and you decided you would go where?
To the NTAC.
All right, that's North Texas Agricultural College of North Texas, or
North Texas Agriculture College.
yes, in Arlington.
NTAC in Arlington, which is now, of course, University of Texas at Arlington.
At Arlington. And your parents were born and raised in the Watson community in Arlington, and now you're going back to your roots, going back to school in Arlington.
Right. And my mother went to school there back when it was Carlisle University.
Oh, how wonderful.
Years before me.
Yeah, many years before you.
Yes.
Carlisle University. Now, when you were in NTAC, and you went in for the first time from Grand Prairie, Texas, did you have any good buddies that were going from Grand Prairie over there with you, or did you go alone?
Vernon Thomas, yeah. We of course, we went back and forth. And
yes.
Vernon Thomas and I rode in the same car. And Joe Campbell.
Yes. Joe Robertson Campbell.
Joe Robinson Campbell.
Yes.
Right. Joe Robinson Campbell.
She went
and
there
Margaret
too.
Hyde.
Margaret Hyde, okay.
And,
did any of y'all ride together in the same car, or
Yeah.
did you all carpooled?
These four, there were 6 of us in one car that
how wonderful.
That went,
how did y'all ever get your schedules together?
Lavinia Allen was one of them, and
all right.
Joyce, her father had the barbershop. What's his last name?
Graham? Was it that Graham? No.
What's his name?
All right, we'll work on that one in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so 6 of y'all were going to Arlington, and you carpooled.
Right.
And what I want to know, they have schedules now where you have 2 hours here and 2 hours there, and every one of y'all had a different schedule. But with basics, if you all went over at the same time, maybe you could all work that out together. Who drove?
I did.
You drove?
Yeah.
Tell me what kind of car you drove to North Texas.
It was a 36 Chevrolet.
A 36 Chevrolet, and it held all 6 of you real well.
Right. Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. Us youngsters, we didn't mind being a little crowded. Matter of fact, it was more fun.
Oh, you love
like
that, yes. And driving.
Boys and girls both together,
yes.
It was a little more fun.
and driving over to Arlington, what time did y'all have to leave to go home, to go to school?
We would have everybody picked up in the car by 8 o'clock in the morning.
I see.
And then we'd usually get home by 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Where did y'all meet? At your house?
No, I would go by and pick them up.
You would go and pick them up?
At their residence.
At their residence. I think, isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I'd take them home.
Yes.
In the afternoon.
Okay. And you spent how many years at NTAC? 2.
Yeah.
And NTAC, who was your favorite professor of all over there? Do you remember?
Yes, it was my geology teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all right. If you don't remember his name, we'll look back and
I will think of his name in a few minutes too.
That ought to have been in the early part of 37, 38, of the 2 years you went there.
Right.
And did you graduate from there, or did you go into another college?
I went to the University of Texas in Austin.
Okay, you became a Longhorn?
I was a Longhorn.
Well, now tell me what the Arlington group was known as. Were you all the Confederates or what?
No,
when you were going to school.
What were we? I don't even
remember that. You'll write me and tell me.
We were the Aggies? Yeah, we're the Aggies.
Little Aggies, I guess.
Yeah, we're the Aggies.
Okay, and then after NTAC, you decided you would go on to Longhorn Country. And by that time, had you made up your mind what you were going to do?
Yes.
All right.
Professor Lynch was my geology teacher, and the principal, the one I like best at NTAC, and I guess that's one reason that I chose geology as a major.
Yes. And he really made an impression on you.
Oh, he
Because
did.
here you have a father that's a doctor and a mother that's busy doing all these things, and now you're coming out in a brand new field
Yes, sir.
to the family, aren't
That's
you?
right. Yeah.
Okay. And
Dr.
when
Lynch
you
was a wonderful person.
when you got to Austin, tell me about your first impression of the big campus at Austin.
Compared to NTAC, oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine a school having so many buildings as
Yes.
it had at that time.
Yes.
I bet they had at least 10 buildings at that time.
Yes, at least 10, and no big stadium or anything wonderful like that, right? But and you spent 2 years at Texas.
At the University of Texas, yes.
Got your degree in geology, and then what happened? Then what happened to Victor after
went into
you
the
graduated?
service.
You went into the service. So
into the
what
service.
year did you graduate from Texas?
In 46, I went to school a year after I got out of the service.
All right, but now
I was in the service from
tell me what service you were in.
Air Force.
You were in the Air Force. Where did you train for the Air Force?
I went to armament school in Denver, Colorado.
In Denver. Is that what got you acquainted with Colorado? Okay. So from the Air Force there, you got your start, and then where did you go from Colorado in the Air Force?
I went to the Air Force in 1942 and was discharged in 1946.
1946.
And I went to school again for a year at the University of Texas.
All right.
And then I went to work for the Magnolia Petroleum Company.
Magnolia. That's the one that has the flying red horse in Dallas.
Right.
Okay.
That was Pegasus, as in their geophysical department.
All right. And you did what?
I worked as a geophysicist.
All right. And for how long did you work with them?
I was only with them for 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. And then what happened?
And then I became infatuated with the explosive business, and I went into the explosive business. And
that's dangerous.
I've been in the explosive business ever since.
All right. And what are you doing now?
Ever since, I'm in the explosive
You're
business.
still in the explosive
I'm
business.
still in the part-time in the explosive business.
In the explosive business. That is a very, very unusual occupation, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
And you married what year, and give me the name of your late wife?
Married in 1945, just before I went overseas.
All right.
And Dina Waller was
Dina Waller.
from Oak Cliff.
From Oak Cliff.
Yes, she went to
Okay.
Sunset High School.
Well, Sunset, my old school.
That's right, your
Good
old
Bison.
school.
We were both good Bisons.
Your old
She
school, that's
kept
right.
up with all of us through the Alumni Association,
That's
didn't
right.
she? And you
Yeah.
did too, because she made you. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I met Dina at NTAC.
Oh, you did?
Yes, that's where I met her.
That's wonderful. And you have how many children in your family? And we
One.
know Cindy's one of them, but
One child.
Cindy is the only child. Cindy, you are so petted and pampered, and isn't that wonderful?
Yes, I had a wonderful childhood. Lots of good memories.
That's really great. I'm going to get with you in just a few minutes if we don't run out of time, but we've got to find out now that he's still in the explosive business. And do you plan to still continue living in Colorado Springs and doing your explosive
Correct.
thing?
That's correct.
You don't think Cindy could ever get you back down to the Grand Prairie, Dallas-Fort Worth area except for just a short visit like this?
I might get her up there for good.
Oh. Steal her from Weatherford, Texas? Oh, that would be a tragedy for Weatherford, wouldn't it? Okay, and you've had a good life up there, and you come down here occasionally, and you've honored us with your presence going down to San Antonio. And who do you have in San Antonio that's related to you?
My sister had 3 children,
All right, your sister that passed away.
and they all stayed in San Antonio.
They did.
And they're their families. I visited them and their families.
Okay, you want to name some of them?
Yeah, Wayne Doyle. She was the number 2. John Doyle, her oldest son, died
All right.
last year.
Yes.
And Wayne is the second child, and Linda is the third child.
Third child. Well, we hosted some of them when they came down to Grand Prairie, Texas about a year ago, took them on a tour through the Copeland home, and was so excited because we found them out in the yard when we were just passing by accident. I was on the way to do a television show. I stopped the music and I said, are you all trying to get into the Copeland home? And they said, we would love to get into it. We can't find the key or anything. And so I called City Hall. We got the key. They got to go on a tour. And then I took them out to the studio and taped them for 15 minutes, and I have a glorious interview of one of Dr. Copeland's descendants there that we are adding to our archives to put in the home. So wasn't that an exciting adventure?
Wonderful. Yes, that was.
Do you mind resting a minute and let me talk to Cindy a little bit?
Please do.
Miss Cindy, thank you so much for being here and for getting your father here from Weatherford and to see all about this. And you were born where, my dear?
Well, I was born in Dallas.
In Dallas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, did your parents live in Dallas, or did they live here in Grand Prairie?
Well, they lived in Dallas at the time.
At the time, okay. And then you just followed him wherever he went doing this geology explosive stuff, right?
That's right.
And you were raised in Colorado?
Well, no, I wasn't. As you said, I followed my folks around as they changed locations with their job, and then we settled in Wichita Falls for a number of years.
Oh, that's great.
And that's where I grew up.
You grew up in Wichita Falls and went and graduated from where in high school there?
Ryder High School.
Ryder High School in Wichita Falls. What magic year?
In 1965.
1965. That was a wonderful year. And from there, where did you go?
Well, then I went to Fort Worth to Texas Wesleyan University.
Yes, TWU.
Yes, and graduated from Texas Wesleyan.
What year?
1969.
With what kind of credentials?
Well, I had a Bachelor of Education, Bachelor of Arts in Education, and then stayed in the Fort Worth area. And I do have lots of good memories of Grand Prairie from my childhood.
Going back to the old Copeland home?
Yes, when I visited my grandparents during the summers. They were very warm, and I remember especially my grandfather, Dr. Copeland's birthday parties.
Oh yes, because the city threw a party for him and invited all of the babies he had delivered. One time they had about, they say he's delivered 5,000 plus, and the city gave him an automobile. And do you have a picture of that?
Yes, here's the automobile.
Oh, there's the automobile that they gave him, and some of the kids' pictures that are in our archives.
Yes.
That is really wonderful, and you have good memories of that too, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And what brought you to Weatherford in 1 minute?
When my children were starting school,
You better name your children.
Susan Spurlock and William Spurlock.
Okay.
And when they started to school, we wanted a smaller school district for them, so we moved a little farther out from the big city and have lived in Weatherford for about 26 years
26
now.
years. That's wonderful. Well, we're just so glad that you're here to help us document and reacquaint people with the Copeland home and with your dad. And of course, having you with us is just extra icing on the cake. And we want to keep this door open and the continuity going so that when Victor and I are gone from this place, we're going to a better, happy heaven. And when we do that, we want y'all to continue seeing that all of this is spotlighted and that people won't forget what wonderful people that brought the quality of life to Grand Prairie, Texas. And it's just wonderful. Victor, it's been wonderful. And I would like to thank publicly on this television Joe Robertson Campbell, because she came to me about 3 weeks ago and said, I think Victor's coming to Texas. And if he does, I want to get him here on a Tuesday. Well, we didn't make it on a Tuesday. And thanks to Mr. Louis Tovar and the bosses at Comcast for letting us tape this show off limits, really, on our taping day is always Tuesday. They've let us come in to do this because you're here from Colorado, and we would have never gotten you back in a timely way. So it's really wonderful to, and we have two wonderful camera people today here that's really doing us justice, and they said, wrap it up. Thank y'all for being here today. It's just been glorious.
Thank you.
And we'll do better next time. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do and document. Thank y'all.